The hell are you supposed to be? I'm vengeance.
What's up? What's up, guys? What's up on this beautiful Wednesday, March 20th? 7? Yeah, 27? Yeah, it's 27 of 2024. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing good. AW here in World Order. Not Let's Talk Pop. A spoiler review for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I seen last night. As I told you in my stream last night, I did see it last night on in the afternoon, actually. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be talking about on this stream. Not Let's Talk Pop, just Ghostbusters Frozen Empire spoiler review. Okay, now tell me if you've seen it before. Okay, before we get into the spoiler review, you know the drill, guys. If you're new here, check out my channel for the first time, or if you're on Twitter, X, like or subscribe. Wherever, subscribe. And if you're a current or new subscriber, smash the like button down below. If you're on X, follow me on X, or click on the YouTube link if you want to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Okay, I do have this on X. Okay. So yeah, share us out if you can. Thank you. 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 I really appreciate it. All right, so another rule about spoiler reviews, because we're gonna be doing another spoiler review tomorrow of X-Men 97 episode 3. It's gonna be two videos. Actually, not two videos. It's gonna be two. Actually, there's gonna be two videos that I actually made. The spoiler review is gonna go up for tomorrow for this, the non-spoiler review for this, and tomorrow the non-spoiler review for X-Men is gonna go up, and later that night. Or maybe later that night, we might do a stream for episode 3 of X-Men 97. Maybe. So tomorrow, expect 3 things on this channel. This non-spoiler review of this movie. It's already done. The video's already done. I just have to edit some stuff. Also, X-Men 97 episode 3 non-spoiler episode will be made. Video will be made tomorrow. And then, yeah. Then a spoiler review of episode 3, X-Men. And maybe we'll talk about other stuff too tomorrow. All right. So let's get into this, guys. Let's get into this topic at hand. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire spoiler review. This is the sequel to the 2021 film Afterlife, obviously, with Paul Rudd returning, Carrie Coon, McKenna Grace, Finn Wolford, Dan Aykroyd's in this, the Ernie Hudson, and Bill Murray. They're all in this. All in this film, along with some new characters, and a character you might remember from the past. But there's some new characters, like new actors, such as let me bring up the casting, such as Kumail Nanjiani, who's in it. Pat Oswalt is in it. Celeste O'Connor's back from the first film. Annie Potts is back, and surprisingly, William Atherton is back now. You might not be familiar with that name, William Atherton. He's not a household name he's not like somebody that people talk about on social media or anything like that. But William Atherton. But if you've seen this movie, you'll definitely recognize who he is. Okay, and William Atherton. Okay, is yes the return of Walter Peck and the Grassy Sayer. Walter Peck from the first film, the ones that try to get the Ghostbusters in trouble, imprisoned, and eventually fired. He was eventually fired by the mayor. Yes, Walter Peck. And I didn't catch on until maybe halfway through the film to realize, oh my God, this is Walter Peck from the first film. I didn't catch on. I didn't catch it at the beginning, but as the film went on, at least at the halfway point, maybe that's when I caught it. I'm like, oh my God, I know this guy. I know this guy. There was at the beginning there was something odd about this mayor because usually the mayors in the Ghostbuster movies are either secretive or appreciated, but also very strict. But this mayor clearly had it out for the Ghostbusters, and you just had to find some way to legalize and make. You just had to find some way to bring him down. So you do whatever it takes to bring the Ghostbusters down to a point where he could blame the Ghostbusters fully for what's wrong in New York and shut them down. Right? And I'm like, then halfway, when it got to a point where, yeah, I'm shutting you down, halfway through the film, I'm shutting you down, stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is Walter Peck. Walter Peck. Walter Peck. And somehow he became mayor of New York. Now this is just a little thing that it's not little, but it is a little story. It's a little thing we're talking about, but it's really interesting because it brings back a little nostalgia from the first film. Seeing Walter Peck make a comeback and still have a grudge against whatever the Ghostbusters. It doesn't matter which incarnation, whether it's original or the new Ghostbusters. And somehow became mayor. So over that time between 84 and 1984, whenever that took, he was able to find a way to build his reputation. He was able to find a way because you would think his reputation after that film would be shot, right? He wouldn't be able to get work anywhere, right? He can't get back into politics. He's done. He's not. In this day and age, you consider him maybe canceled, right? Canceled, right? That's what people would say. He's clearly wasn't canceled, obviously, right? He was able to build up a reputation. He was able to build up something over those 40 years. Maybe find a way to deceive New York like a politician. He became a mayor, like a politician. You know how politicians are, right? You know how politicians are. So he may be able to find a way to, or maybe New Yorkers never really found out, or whatever. But I think he found a way. Found a way to get New Yorkers' trust over the years. Now this is before. Now this had to be before he became the Ghostbusters moved to New York. So yeah, okay, yeah. So I don't know. So there had to be a way. There's definitely a way for him to become mayor. He was able to. Build a reputation for himself or rebuild it or whatever. Or maybe, but yeah, I don't know. So this is kind of funny though. The way, hey, yo, Chico. Okay, So yeah, that's awkward as hell. But so the Ghostbusters, they moved back from Oklahoma. Remember in the first film, they were in Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma. They moved to back to New York to once to the fireplace, the firehouse, like from the original films, and they made it not just to work their business, right, business operations, but also their home where they live. The kids have their own rooms, etc., etc. We get the idea. The idea. Okay. Okay. Right. But this. So they foot. But the thing is, we open up with the film when we go back, where they go back in history, not the Ghostbusters, but the film takes history about early 19th century, early 1900s, in New York, where the early incarnations of the fire department were asked to come in to this building, where there was a meeting being held, and strangely enough, this meeting being held by very powerful people, and it was weird. It's weird. They busted into the room, and everybody's frozen. They were all frozen. And the weird thing is, they were frozen, but the month they busted into the room in this building with all these people frozen, uh, the month was July. Was July, which they mentioned later on in the film, which they mentioned on later in the film. Once, once the Ghostbusters started to do their investigating of specifically the villain. Eventually, we'll talk about. So one of the firemen saw this little brass sphere, right? Sphere. Grab this stuff. This sphere, right? It was calling to him. Now this sphere obviously plays a very important part in the film. Fast forward to a years later, to present time, you see the Ghostbusters chasing a sea-like monster ghost, and while they do catch a lot of the ghosts, they kind of cause damage, and that's where they meet Mir Peck. Mir Peck basically forbids McKenna Grace's character to be a Ghostbuster, and Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon's characters, Greg, I forget who Carrie Spangler, obviously Carrie Coon's Callie. They kind of obey by the rules because you know what, they don't want to lose the Ghostbusters business, right? So McKenna Grace's character, which is Phoebe, and Phil Wolford's character is Trevor. And yeah, Paul Rudd is Gary. I remember that. They don't, right? So she is on the sidelines. She can't be a Ghostbuster, because she's underage. Where her brother Trevor turns 18, so technically he's an adult legally. And I'll be right back. I'm gonna take out something. I'm gonna take out the trash. Yeah, take out the trash. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm back. So where was I? So yeah. Okay. So we find out. Um, Ray works. He still has that store. That store, right? That store. He obviously from the second movie. Remember from the second movie, he went to a store where he buys and sells strange artifacts, occults, you know, supernatural kind of stuff, right? Or cursed stuff, books, stuff like that, right? Oh, also, Winston, Ernie Huss's character, is a billionaire. Is a billionaire. He ends up becoming a billionaire, and that plays into in the film because of what he was able to do with his money. Okay. All right. So yeah. So and Phoebe's having trouble feeling that she kind of feels left out, upset that she cannot go out in the field, right, and capture ghosts. And Phoebe's always feels like that, the outcast, because Phoebe is kind of like her grandfather, very much like her grandfather, like the where she's so smart, scientific smart, but she's almost awkward in a way, like her father, right? They're like those kind of people, right? Where they're so down, like I wouldn't go as far as autistic here, but you could see that a little bit with especially, but I'm not gonna, but you could see how she's very similar to her grandfather because she's nothing like the mother. She's more like the father. Grandfather. She definitely inherited the grandfather's intelligence, and she always feels like the odd one out, right? The awkwardness. Okay, so as she was visiting Ray at his shop, one of her what's his name? What's the guy's name? Okay, I guess Logan Kim is his name. From he was staying with Ray in the basement of the shop because he lied to his parents and said he was supposed to go to summer camp, right? But he had some since summer camp is a month or two. He had to hide somewhere, right? Had to hide somewhere. The So his parents weren't able to catch on to him. And Phoebe and Logan, they kind of connected there. Also all of a sudden, a customer goes into the store. That's Molly Najani's character Nadim, as Nadim, who just wanted to sell stuff because he was the grandmother died, and now the grandmother and his family play a very important role in this film. But at this point, he's kind of like lazy, couch potato, slacker kind of guy, right? So he's looking to sell a bunch of items to for money, and the spear from the first from the beginning with the frozen powerful man and all that appeared, right? He didn't know what it was. He didn't know what it was. Ray Ray has one of those meters that can track if this is very if there's a ghost or something is right. right? And it was gave up very powerful energy, and so he bought it. Now, while Logan in while podcast and Phoebe were downstairs, he had those little Pillsbury guys, right? Those Pillsbury, right? Little ones were in the basement. Once a spirit came in, they started all hide away. They started to act weird and hide. So that little thing had a connection. Okay. Now Ray said things like that is usually a prison for a very powerful, very evil, powerful creature, right? Obviously, yeah, that's obvious. So, right, right. Ray kind of misses his Ghostbuster days. Now, back to Ghostbusters Firehouse. You know, the little prison thing when they put all the ghosts in, right? It started to have problems. And one of the belief is too many ghosts in there. And is it causing problems with too much because it's taking up a lot of space with all this ghosts in there, right? It turns out Winston sent one of his engineers there. And also it turns out Winston had a lab facility specifically for the scientific research of ghosts, right? Even a little bit of imprisonment for ghosts, a little kind of a zoo for ghosts too, where they could research them and study them, and also, yeah, so also imprison them, right? With the same with the trap, it's the kind of thing, right? So it turns out a bigger one, right? Bigger facility, or bigger where they got. So yeah, right. Also, since so when Phoebe no, when the Ghostbusters get a call and Phoebe can't go during the night, she goes all alone to the park. I assume Central Park. I don't know, Central Park Zoo, Central Park, whatever. It's New York. She takes out a chessboard and she starts, playing. All of a sudden, the other, the other, the colored, I think it was whatever. The other chess pieces started to move by himself. So she was obviously playing a ghost, and the ghost visibly showed herself, and as a actual look like an actual person, right? An actual person who can actually talk, right? Now this is really the first time where I think in Ghostbusters where we see this, where we see a ghost able to a, a ghost. I think Spangler's ghost obviously a little bit, but this is really the first time we see a ghost able to have their full mind. Like they still have who they know who they are, hasn't lost her herself, is able to communicate with the living, is able to talk, is able to have feelings, stuff like that. It's not like they're completely lost, like whatever, right? And this is like one of the first times where ghosts are not necessarily all bad, right? They're not necessarily all bad. They're scary, but they're not all bad. And this character was Melody, who died a long time ago in an accidental fire. She accidentally killed her family and herself. She kind of blames herself for that, and that's the reason she can't move on to, I guess, to the next world, the next plane. I guess assume heaven, right? That comes into later. She was a smoker too. Okay, so and this is where a point where Phoebe was also kind of making a friend with with the ghost, right? Okay. Excuse me. I'm just drinking. Okay. Now, the thing with that spear is, once they got the sphere, where they got the spear, some strange stuff were happening in New York. Like there was some ice building up. Ice building up. They decided to take that sphere to the facility where Winston is at, right? Where Winston is, right? Oh, and Greg and the engineer was annoyed with the engineer gets annoyed a lot. So late at night, late at night, they have this thing. They have this not experiment, but they have this. I guess this. It's not an experiment because it actually works. They have this device where it's able to abstract the ghosts from the item, because you know sometimes if you don't know, sometimes supernatural ghosts are attached to items, so they're able to abstract this item, the ghost from this item, so they can imprison the ghosts, right? So they tried it with the sphere. All these other ghosts in the prison were actually starting to act weird around that sphere, and they were trying. Unfortunately, it was too powerful, and it was causing stuff to freeze. He tried to, it was causing him to freeze, his uh, his arm to freeze. What's her name? What's her name again? So Celeste came in the picture. She tried to do something to stop. It couldn't. They managed to find a way to stop it, and then he was his right. So they had to call upon Winston, Ray, and some of the Ghostbusters to come there. And this sphere, they're like, oh my, this sphere is very powerful, very powerful. Okay, and now they have to find how Kumai Najari's character got his hands on the sphere and what the sphere means. And this sphere has very ancient language. I think it was Sumerian language. They said, right? Okay. So Ray, Phoebe, and podcast, right? Right. But before that, we see that Phoebe as a gets a call. Gets a call. Well, her mother, Gary, and Finn, and her brother are all on a different call, are all on a different call to stop ghosts. They get a call. The firehouse gets a call, and it's only her. She answers. She takes up. So she takes up the job, and it was a diner. She goes to the diner, and it turns out it was Melody. And they start talking guy again. Melody, she takes Melody to the firehouse. Melody goes to, they talk, obviously. They take her to the basement, and Melody is very, very interested in the containment, right? In the containment unit where they store all the ghosts. And so, okay, but fast forward, they have to go to Konami's characters, Nadine's house, where he's at. He's at his grandma's place. Also, Okay, so the thing about Nadine was he was setting off stuff off Ray's device. If how powerful this item is to detect ghosts, and they couldn't put their finger on it, right? Like, is he a ghost possessed? Is he a demon? And he doesn't know. He's playing dumb. He's a Joker of a character, right? He doesn't know. They go to his apartment, in his grandma's apartment. Secretly, his grandma had a secret room with all this ancient stuff that could explain why he would have, why she would have the little sphere, right? And there was an ancient language they were hearing and talking about. They don't know what it is. It's a dead language. They go to the library also, right? To see if there's to find Patton Oswalt's character, right? The Patton Oswalt's character who's into that stuff, right? And it's very knows a lot about ancient history, all that stuff. Knows about myths, legends, stuff like that. Okay, they go there. They go there, and one of the ghosts, the possessor ghost, was able to break free. And that ghost could possess any living item. That's pretty funny. Possess a garbage bag at one point, and a pizza. And so they talk to the Patton Oswalt's character, and Patton Oswalt's characters take him to a deep underneath where where all his ancient books would tell about ancient history or stuff like that, and they talk about the spear and what it relates to. They mentioned a character named Garaka. Garaka was a god. Garaka was a villain. Garaka was like a god, and they talk about how Garaka was a demon god, right? And he wants to conquer the dimension with his ability to basically control ghosts and freeze the world, right? And destroy humanity, right? And so he was imprisoned in that sphere. That sphere was an imprisonment, and the reason why is because he had a weakness. He had people fighting him, right? They were called fire masters. People able to control fire. They were able to exploit his weakness on fire and brass, and able to trap him into the sphere until in the early 1900s when those men kind of freed him from his imprisonment. Unfortunately, but the Fire Master has descendants, and it turns out Nadine, the Kajari's character, grandmother, was a descendant of the Fire Masters. So that makes him a descendant, a Fire Master himself, but he didn't know that. He didn't know that. Two reasons: either he didn't, his mother, his grandmother or mother or father never told him, or he wasn't paying attention. So they tell Nadine that he's a fire master. She's like, what? 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 Fire masters. What? And she finds in while Phoebe gets arrested and runs away because she couldn't stand her family, and she takes Melody to the facility where all the ghosts are, with where the sphere is, and there's a way for a human to end up being a ghost for a couple minutes, And that's exactly what happened. Phoebe managed to make herself a ghost, but Melody kind of heel turned on her and said that she was sorry, but she had no choice because she admits she made a deal with Graka. She kind of and so Graka was able to uh possess Phoebe, and she recreated recited a chant. And that's where Graka escapes, and hell freezes over, and he's on a mission to find the firebrander, the fire master, so he's able not to be imprisoned again. Um, and he did not under deal with Melody, right? Because she wanted to see her family again. That's what Graka promised that she would see her family again. Nope. And Graka wanted to free. The Graka's intention was to go to the containment facility, yield it, free all the ghosts there, build his army, where he's taking hell freezes over. Well, at the headquarters, they prepare the Ghostbusters, right? Everybody comes. The mother, Gary, the brother, Phoebe, the original Ghostbusters. Eventually, everybody, Dan Aykroyd, even Janine. Janine decides to get into the action. Okay, and what they have to do, they tell Konami Konami's character that he's a fire master and he's able to control fire. So he has to practice, right? He has to practice, and he was practicing all night long while Garako was getting prepared to crash the firehouse and free the containment facility. Okay. So they had to do whatever it takes. So shooting him with the regular proton stuff, they had to find a different metal, because the metal they use for their experiments, for their proton packs, has no effect on Graka. So they cut that. So they cut the pole they use to slide down, that metal, and that does affect Graka. Okay. Obviously, they can't hold him Graka, right? They all shoot him. Graka was able to freeze the firehouse, and the Ghostbusters are all on the side, they're not frozen. They're able to move a little bit, but there was like icicles blocking their path, right? Ice and icicles blocking their path. You see, Konami's character comes in with the lighter. The lighter's out. He was able to control the fire, but the lighter was out, so there's no fire from the control, right? So Karaka was getting ready for what looks like victory, right? But out of nowhere, Melody, the ghost, you gotta remember, she was a smoker, and she didn't have light. I don't think we're around back then. Her little pack was able to light a fire, and with that in the case, Garaka was able, well, not Garaka, the firebender, Konami's character, was able to use that fire that Melody kind of lit and blast it at Garaka, right? And I was able to, and with the fire, there was able to melt some of the ice, right? It was able to melt some of the ice because fire melts ice, obviously. And the Ghostbusters were free, and they started shooting Garaka, right? He was getting hit by fire in whatever metal. I think it was brass. Whatever metal was in the proton pack that was shooting at him. Right? They need metal to make that work. Right? Okay. But wasn't really killing him. What they did, they had to trap Garaka, and that's what they did. They used one of the traps, and they were able to capture Garaka and imprison him. And the Ghostbusters once again save the world, and they come out of the firehouse, big crowd was there to praise them, to cheer them on. Walter Peck's character comes, starts kind of kind of shaming them. You see Beckman's character. Beckman, oh, Walter Peck. All of a sudden, the news comes in, and as Peck's character is about to say something, the Ghostbusters, they kind of said, "Oh, we did a good job here," and stuff like that. And Walter Peck's character, he had to say something. He didn't. He had to kind of praise the Ghostbusters because he didn't want to look bad in front of the press, in front of the crowd of people, obviously. Because obviously, if he did that, he would obviously in his next election, he would not be mayor anymore. If he said something bad about the Ghostbusters after the Ghostbusters saving New York once again. So that's pretty much the movie. I mean, you gotta see it for yourself, guys. Seriously. I like the movie, honestly. I don't think it was that bad. I don't think the critics to me were wrong about this movie. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was not great. I think it's a solid 6, 7 out of 10. The film. Uh, I thought I'll say this in my review too, but I thought they did a decent job with some characters. I thought with Phoebe, they developed her more. Ray's character, they kind of explored more, but they kind of did not. They kind of pert. I mean, they did Greg and Carrie's relationship a bit. They developed more into a romantic relationship to a point Gary, where Phoebe was accepting Gary as potentially a father, or stepfather, to the point as like someone he could as a male role model, something like that. But also like that. But they also kind of didn't. They kind of sidelined Finn's character to a kind of a joke. He's just there. So Lisa O'Connor's character was just there, kind of. Bill Murray's character did not need anything. Um, Brent Sims, we just knew he's rich now, but they done a good job with some characters, but they also sidelined some of the characters to the expense of others. Um, that's one gripe I have with it. The thing with the difference between these two Ghostbuster movies compared to the original Ghostbuster movies was not really about character development, right? Right, it was not really about character development with. It was mostly focused on comedy, right? But not really character development, right? The story was simple. The story is simple here, but there's a lot more character development in these two movies. These two movies, okay, okay, than the original two. The only thing in the original movies that really had a story, character development was kind of, I guess you could say, Vickman in a way, because he had a love interest with Signor Weaver's character, and that's basically it. Ray, Winston, and Egon, they didn't really have any character development. But they didn't really have. Yeah, but in two movies, there was more character development on a focus on the characters more than taking on ghosts and comedy stuff like that. That's what I noticed about these two films. And we gotta stop. We gotta stop with this. With this. We gotta stop. We gotta stop with this 2016 Ghostbusters. Here's the thing: 2016 Ghostbusters. This has nothing to do. The Ghostbusters that we saw the past 5 years, Afterlife, in this has nothing to do with 2016's Ghostbusters. The first two films in the 80s have nothing to do with those Ghostbusters movies. Because 101 reason, don't judge these Ghostbuster movies based on what you saw from that movie because they're two different universes. That is basically like a different universe, right? Not canon, not part of this universe. These two movies are sequels to the alien movies. That movie is not even part of that universe. Okay, so please get that out of your head, guys. Okay, if that's still stuck in your head, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have issues. Move on. Move on. Move on. That's all I gotta say about that. But I did like the movie. It's one of those movies where the audience score and the critic score is way off. I think you should check it out. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, I think you might like this movie. If you're not, well, whatever. It's up to you. There were some jokes that made me laugh. Okay? I'm not gonna. I'll tell you one thing, it's better than Madam Reb. But yeah, I suggest you go see the movie. Especially if you're a Ghostbusters fan. Now, I don't know if they're gonna make a third movie or what. It's not gonna make a huge amount of money, but I think it'll make a decent amount of money. I don't know what the budget for the film is. Let me just check. Real quick. The budget for the film is 100 million. Right now the box office is 68 million. I think it'll make back the 100 million. I don't know how much it needs for profit, but I do think it'll make triple figures in the box office for sure. But yeah, I liked it. Okay, so once again, tomorrow we're gonna upload the actual review. It's already made. I'll upload it tomorrow. I'll also do X-Men review, episode 3, and that'll be a spoiler review 2 live stream. Thank you guys, and yeah, and I'll definitely do Let's Talk Pop maybe Saturday. But make sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment below, guys. Take care.